On the news tonight, President Bola Tinubu calls for a total elimination of nuclear weapons globally. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation urge Nigerian government to increase funding for health programs. Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria orders immediate shutdown of crude oil and gas supply to Dangote Refinery. Abroad, King Charles III to visit the Vatican next month. Good evening and welcome to Delta TV Main News. I am Francis Ofulue. You can also follow our news online on Facebook and YouTube, both at Delta Broadcasting Service Asaba, or simply visit our website www.dbsasaba.com. And now the stories. President Bola Tinubu has called for the total elimination of nuclear weapons across the world. The president made the call while delivering Nigeria's statement at the United Nations headquarters in New York during the high-level meeting to commemorate the International Day for the total elimination of nuclear weapons. Represented by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tugar, President Tinubu warned of the catastrophic humanitarian consequences that could result from either the intentional use of or accidental detonation of nuclear weapons. He stressed that the only absolute guarantee against the use of threats of such weapons was total elimination. The Nigerian leader urged nuclear weapon states to demonstrate sincerity and political will by dismantling their arsenals, halting further testing, and complying with agreed frameworks on disarmament, non-proliferation, and peaceful use of nuclear energy. President Tinubu also commended African nations for adopting the Pelindaba Treaty, which declared the continent a nuclear weapons-free zone and called on other regions to emulate Africa's example. He reiterated the country's commitment to global peace and security, pledging that the country will continue to play its part in the campaign for a world free of nuclear weapons. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has called on the African Union to reinvigorate diplomacy as the most effective means of resolving conflicts on the continent. The president made the call at a meeting of the AU Peace and Security Council held on the sidelines of the 80th edition of the 80th United Nations General Assembly in New York. Represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, President Tinubu acknowledged the role of the AU's peace support operations, but warned that limited funding and reliance on external partners were weakening Africa's ability to sustain peace. He urged the adoption of a strategy for the deployment of the African Standby Force, while also calling on member states to recommit to AU-led peace and conflict resolution processes rather than dependent on outside mechanisms. President Tinubu further stressed the need to equip AU special envoys and peace representatives with the skills and resources required to prevent or de-escalate conflicts. Earlier, the UN Special Representative to the African Union, Perfect Onanga Anyanga, expressed concern over rising armed conflicts in Africa and urged countries to build strong national peace building and prevention systems. Also, President Bola Tinubu says Nigeria's economy has turned the corner following the reforms the administration has introduced. Speaking at the coronation of Oba Abdul Rashidi Adewolu Akamu Ladoja as the 44th Olubadan of Ibadan land in Oyo State, the president assured that the benefits of the reforms would soon be felt by every Nigerian. In a statement by his special advisor on information and strategy, Mr. Bayo Onanuga, the president expressed gratitude to citizens for their patient support and sacrifices during the period of adjustment, and that there was light at the end of the tunnel. President Tinubu described the new Olubadan as a resilient Democrat who overcame impeachment as a former governor of Oyo State and commended his contribution to the nation's political history. Governor Seyi Makinde, who presented the staff of office and certificate to the monarch, said the coronation had resolved disputes among ruling families in Ibadan, noting that the process was now sacrosanct. The event was attended by 7 and former governors as well as traditional rulers from across the country. So talking about the president, President Bola Tinubu has called on Nigerians to live in peace tolerate one another, and work towards the development of the country. He said Nigeria has reduced or recorded growth in the economy, improvements in security, progress in agriculture, and advances in other sectors. The president made the call on Friday during a special Jumat prayer at the National Mosque, Abuja, organized as part of activities marking Nigeria's 65th independence anniversary. He was represented by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mr. Mohammed Idris, who conveyed the president's message of patience, unity, and hard work. Mr. Tinubu assured that his administration was making steady progress in tackling challenges and appealed to Nigerians, irrespective of ethnic, religious, or political differences, to work together to achieve the dreams of the nation's founding fathers. He urged citizens to continue to pray for leaders and for the country's prosperity. Also at the prayer were the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Mr. Mohammed Kyari, and the Isu Nupe and Alhaji Yahaya Abubakar, who both called for peaceful coexistence and prayed for the well-being of the country. The State Governor, Right Honorable Sheriff Wariwari, has charged National Youth Service Corps members posted to the state to learn, contribute, and positively impact their host communities. The governor gave the charge while declaring open the 2025 Batch B Stream 2 orientation course at the NYSC Permanent Orientation Camp, Isiluku, in Anyocha North local government area. Ejimel Dreme reports.
Welcome, welcome, how do you do? Welcome, welcome, how do you do?
Represented by the Commissioner for Special Projects, Chief Funye Manager, Governor Borewori reminded the corps members that their deployment was a call to contribute to the state's transformation agenda. He assured them of his administration's commitment to providing a conducive environment for their service.
Your presence here is a testimony to your diligence, resilience, and sacrifices of your families. Over the decades, the NYSC has proven to be a beacon of hope and an enduring platform for national unity. It has instilled in our youth the ideals of selfless service, patriotism, discipline, and leadership.
The state NYSC coordinator, Mr. John Vandy, said the orientation course was designed to instill discipline, build character, and prepare corps members for nation building. He commended the governor for approving the reconstruction of the fallen perimeter fence to enhance security at the camp. Highlight of the event was the swearing-in of 1,532 prospective corps members by the governor's representatives, Chief Funye Manager. Ejime Uduime reporting.
Similarly, the National Youth Service Corps NYSC has restated its commitment to the provision of viable community development programs at the grassroots. The Director General of the NYSC, Brigadier General Olakunle Nafi, made this known in Bauchi during the swearing-in ceremony of the 2025 Batch B Stream 2 Corps members. It was represented by the State Coordinator, Mr. Omore Kufre. Brigadier General Nafiu urged the Corps members to strictly adhere to the orientation course timetable, NYSC bylaws, and other relevant regulations, warning that defaulters would be sanctioned. He assured that Corps members would continue to provide services where they are most needed, especially in rural areas. The Director General commended Governor Bala Mohammed for rehabilitating Corps members' hostels and constructing a multi-purpose hall at the Malam Y.M. Baba NYSC Permanent Orientation Camp in Value. He also disclosed that 1,022 out of the 1,900 Corps members posted to the state had completed their registration, comprising 497 males and 525 females. In his remarks, the Commissioner for Youth and Sports Development, Mr. Adamu Gabari, said the orientation course was designed to promote unity, integration, and the overall development of the youth. He charged the Corps members to seize the opportunity and justify the trust the nation has reposed in them. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, has commended Delta State Governor, the Right Honorable Sheriff Oborewori, for his administration's commitment to youth enlistment into the military and paramilitary services. General Oluyede, who was represented by the Chief of Administration of the Nigerian Army, Major General Lawrence Fejoku gave the commendation when members of the Delta State Awareness Creation Committee on Youth Enlistment paid him a courtesy visit at the Army headquarters in Abuja. He noted that since Governor Baribori assumed office, Delta State has recorded a significant increase in applicants and recruits into the Nigerian Army. The Army chief described the governor's decision to establish a special committee on enlistment as visionary and result-oriented. General Oluyede urged the committee to sustain sensitization campaigns, ensuring that recruitment exercises will remain transparent and fair to all applicants. Chairman of the committee and Commissioner for Youth Development, Barrister Thangod Chakowe Hari, said the visit was to brief the Army leadership on the committee's work and introduce its members as directed by the governor. Also speaking, the Director General of the State Bureau for Orientation and Communications, Dr. Fred Oganeziwe, explained that strategic engagement with youths, traditional rulers, faith-based groups, and local government, supported by media campaigns, have boosted enlistment figures in the state. Other members of the delegation included the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Youth Development, representatives of the Christian Association of Nigeria, the State Traditional Rulers Council, and the Directorate of Political and Security Services. Following the Abuja visit, the delegation proceeded to Kaduna to celebrate with 24 Delta indigents who graduated from 72 regular course of the Nigeria Defense Academy, where President Bola Ahmed Tinubu commissioned them as officers. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has called on the Nigerian government to increase funding for the health programs that address the rising crisis of non-communicable diseases in the country. Speaking at a roundtable forum in Abuja, the foundation's country director, Uche Amonwu, stressed that non-communicable diseases such as cancer pose a growing threat to Nigerians. He said the foundation was committed to working with the federal government on health, financing, pandemic preparedness, and integrating NCD care into primary health care. Mr. Amonwu explained that the foundation was mobilizing life sciences partners to co-invest in health systems, moving from isolated projects to coordinated long-term support. Also speaking, the Minister of Health, Professor Ali Pate, noted that with 70% of health spending coming directly from citizens and only 9.5% of Nigerians covered by insurance, over 1 million people have been pushed into poverty each year by medical bills. He stressed that collaboration, innovation, and private sector participation are essential to improving health outcomes and reducing deaths and preventable diseases. The Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, PENGASEN, has ordered an immediate shutdown of crude oil and gas supply to the Dangote refinery. The directive was contained in a letter signed today by the General Secretary of the Union, Comrade Lumumba Ukubawa, and circulated to branch chairmen nationwide. According to PENGASEN, the action followed the dismissal of over 800 workers by the management of Dangote refinery after they voluntarily joined the union. The union accused the refinery of embarking on what it called misinformation and propaganda instead of addressing the wrongful termination of its members. As part of the directive, members were advised to cut gas supply to the Nigerian Gas Infrastructure Company Limited, shut all crude supply valves, and halt vessel loading operations at the refinery. PENGASEN President Comrade Festus Osifo insisted that all sacked workers must be recalled, stressing that the union will not tolerate victimization of its members. Meanwhile, Dangote Refinery had earlier confirmed the sacking, accusing the affected workers of sabotage. The dispute threatened to disrupt operations at Africa's largest refinery with a capacity of 650,000 barrels per day. Nigeria has highlighted the importance of digital trade in driving economic growth across Africa under the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCTA. Speaking at the 80th United Nations General Assembly in New York, the Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, outlined the country's priorities for digitization and its role in supporting African businesses and regional trade integration. The Assembly, which focused on the theme, Better Together, 80 Years and More for Peace, Development and Human Rights, brought together government officials, investors, and technology entrepreneurs from across the continent. Among those who spoke were Senegal's Minister of Communications, Mr. Salimi Ba Andele, co-founder of Inyi Aboyeji Co-Creation Hub, Ojoma Ochai, and technology investor Sudeep Ramani, who commended country's progress in improving digital infrastructure. Other organizations, including Co-Creation Hub and Evercore Industries, also showcased initiatives promoting technology, innovation, and clean energy across Africa. Still to come, King Charles III to visit the Vatican next month. Stay with us.
If tanker wey carry fuel fall or pipe wey carry fuel for underground burst, wetin you go do? You go begin bae fuel put for your bucket, or you go run comot far for where the fire go soon come. Na only small time you get to take this wise decision. Waka comot, no, that one no dey enough. Shift, no, that one no dey enough. Stay there dey gist and take pictures with your phone. That na madness. Run, yes, run comot. Yes, your life depend on wetin you do. The fire go come at once and you no go fit control am. Why? Petrol dey catch fire easily. Why? Na just small spark go start big fire. So no stay there dey think. Run comot quick to save your life. No throway your life away because of say you wan pack petrol. Take this advice. This informate na from Public Enlightenment Office, Delta Broadcasting Service, Asaba.
Watching Delta TV Main News at 8. We go to our next story now. The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, has certified Airlink Group Limited as an approved aircraft maintenance organization. The company confirmed the certification in a statement it released. The approval came after Airlink Group successfully completed a 7,800 landings maintenance check on its Bombardier Challenger 604 aircraft and Augusta A109E helicopter. The inspection, similar to D-Check in commercial aviation, was carried out entirely in Nigeria for the first time. With the certification, Airlink Group can now maintain its own fleet as well as provide maintenance services to other operators, a development expected to boost local aviation capacity. The executive director of the company, Engineer Benedict Adeyileka, described the certification as a landmark for both Airlink Group and Nigeria's aviation industry, saying the approval affirmed the country's or the company's high standard. He said he placed on it the responsibility to expand services that strengthen the aviation ecosystem. Rivers State Governor Mr. Similaye Fubara has approved the immediate dissolution of the Rivers State Pensions Board. In a statement signed by the head of service, Dr. Inyinge Brown, the governor directed that the functions of the board will henceforth be handled by the Office of the Accountant General of the state. The statement instructed members of the dissolved board to hand over all properties and assets in their possessions to the Director of Administration in the Pensions Office. Galapwara also disclosed that a new board will be constituted in due course to oversee pension matters in Rivers State. The Rivers State Pensions Board was among those reconstituted by the immediate past emergency rule administration. This marked the first time major decision by the Fubara government following the 6-month emergency rule. Dignitaries from all walks of life today converged in Warri to celebrate the 71st birthday of renowned Delta industrialist Chief John Paul Ejovi. Ejimel Dweme reports.
Those in attendance included the state governor, the Right Honorable Sheriff of Borewori, his deputy Samonde Onyeme, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Emomotimi Guo, Deputy Speaker, Right Honorable Ato Akpowo, High Chief Andrew Oru, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Abat Akpamuji, and businessman Obi Kubana, among others. Chairman of the occasion, High Chief Andrew Oru described Chief Ejovi as a man who has touched many lives in his 71 years, urging him to devote the years ahead to doing even more for God and humanity. Speakers at the event paid glowing tributes to the celebrant, wishing him many more fruitful years ahead.
Not that he was more great, but he achieved greatness by dint of hard work. So I celebrate him and I'm happy.
My word of prayer is that they God continue to strengthen him. From what we are seeing from the crowd that are here, it all indicates that he's a nice person.
I said the biography of your life will not complete until my name is mentioned.
In his remarks, Chief Ejovi, joined by his wife, described 71 years as a milestone and pledged to redouble his philanthropic gestures while continuing to contribute his quota to society.
Whatever I have done, that the children put all together, is by God's grace. My father had me, I was 12, my father was about 97 when he died. So he had me in old age. If not for God, it's a very different ball game.
My husband is, I'm wishing him many more years. And I pray that God Almighty grant him his desire and all those for him.
Governor Borewori later presented a birthday card to the celebrant and prayed for God's blessings and long life upon him. Ejime Uduime reporting.
The state governor, the Right Honorable Sheriff Borewori, has joined dignitaries in Kaduna State for the funeral service of late Mr. Danladi Ambi, foster father of the Deputy Governor, Semande Oyeme. The solemn ceremony held at the Evangelical Church, Winning All Ekwa, Jangindi Tasha in Sanga local government area, attracted top government officials and prominent Deltans. Again, Ejime Uduime has details.
Mr. Danladi Ambi, foster father of the Deputy Governor, Semande Oyeme. The solemn ceremony held at Ekwa Church, Jangidi Tasha in Sanga local government area attracted top government officials and prominent Deltans. Mr. Ambi, a retired soldier, public servant, farmer, and devout Christian, passed on at the age of 82 after a brief illness. Among those who attended with the governor were Honorable Nnamdi Ezechi, Honorable Charles Imetulu, Honorable Emeka Usamuta, Comrade Ruben Izeze, Dr. Ifeanyi Osoza, Honorable Funke Keme Solomon, Dr. Barry Gbe, and Chief Jeffrey Azagba. Also in attendance were Haja Fatima Tajuddin, wife of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Daniel Amos, son-in-law of the deceased, as well as lawmakers from Uyo and Plateau states. In his tribute, Semande Oyeme described Mr. Ambi as the pillar of his life and career, recalling how he began living with him at the age of 10. He praised his foster father as a disciplinarian, a farmer of excellence, and a man who lived for the success of others.
Baba does not have to open his mouth for you to understand what he's trying to say. If you just look at it like this. You know, the man who is not satisfied with second figures. He wants the best in everything.
Delivering a sermon titled Legacy Beyond the Grave from Hebrew 11:4, Reverend Gambo Shagaya urged Christians to live purposeful lives that leave lasting footprints on humanity and the kingdom of God.
So legacy beyond the grave. Every life leaves a legacy. Every life leaves a legacy. Whether you are
The funeral was marked by tributes, prayers and hymns in honor of a man remembered for discipline, service, and selfless impact. Ejime Uduime reporting.
On the global scene, Buckingham Palace has announced that King Charles III and Queen Camilla will pay a state visit to the Vatican next month, where they will meet Pope Leo XIV. For the first time, the visit, scheduled for late October, came about 6 months after the royal couple met Pope Francis shortly before his death in April. Pope Francis was succeeded by Pope Leo, the first American pope, elected in May at the age of 70. According to the palace, the king and queen will join the pontiff in Jubilee Year celebrations held every 25 years under the theme Pilgrims of Hope. The visit will also highlight ongoing ecumenical efforts between the Church of England and the Catholic Church. King Charles, who is the head of the Church of England, has previously met 3 popes, including Francis in 2017 and 2019, Benedict XVI in 2009, and Pope John Paul II in 1982. The trip was months after Charles recovered from a brief health scare linked to his cancer treatment. Still on the global scene, hundreds of mostly young protesters faced off against security forces in Madagascar's capital today, days after an anti-government demonstration erupted into clashes and looting. Police used rubber bullets and tear gas to disperse crowds at Thursday's protest, which was called to condemn persistent water and power cuts in the impoverished nation, but descended into violence as stores were looted and buildings and cars set ablaze. Demonstrators, including university students, gathered again in Antananarivo Saturday, holding placards with slogans that included "We are poor, angry, and unhappy, and Madagascar is ours." They're mostly dressed in black and with their faces covered. Some wore the colored straw hats that have become a symbol of defiance. A wall of security forces prevented protesters from marching towards the city center, and there were reports that police used tear gas to disperse them. An unidentified hospital source said 5 people were killed in Thursday's violence, but no official has released a confirmed toll. In a video address late yesterday, President Andry Rajoelina said that in response to the protests, he had sacked his energy minister for not doing his job. He also condemned the violence as acts of destabilization. The Southern African Development Community SADC grouping said today was concerned about an unconfirmed number of fatalities, injuries, and extensive damage to both public and private property. The 16-nation SADC, of which Rajoelina is the current chairperson, commended in its statement the government's steadfast commitment to restoring peace and stability. The African Union called for restraint, calm, and dialogue. Let's now join our business news desk for stories of business and the economy.
The federal government has explained that the $220 million fine imposed on Meta Platforms Incorporated was aimed at ensuring the company complied with Nigerian laws. The sanction imposed through the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, followed findings of data breaches. National Commissioner of the Nigerian Data Protection Commission, NDPC, Mr. Vincent Olatunji, said in Abuja that the probe into Meta's operations was carried out to promote global best practices in data handling. He noted that the exercise required a multi-agency approach to ensure thorough investigation and appropriate resolution. Mr. Olatunji stressed that government's concern was not only about protecting privacy, but also about deriving economic value for Nigerians through proper data management. He warned that any organization that refused to cooperate with regulators or comply with laws will be sanctioned. Mr. Olatunji added that the future of governance in Nigeria is digital, but success will depend on trust and privacy. He called for collective responsibility in building trusted digital services to make Nigeria a model of innovation and progress. The Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, FAN, has announced that cashless and contactless payment will commence at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, and the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, from Monday, September 29. In a statement issued in Abuja, FAN said the initiative, tagged Operation Go Cashless, is in partnership with Paystack and aims to modernize payment systems across Nigerian airports. The authority explained that all transactions at revenue points, including access gates, car parks, and VIP lounges, would henceforth be strictly cashless to enhance transparency and accountability. FAN assured that the system would ease passenger experience, reduce delays, and align airport operations with global best practices. The Naira has continued its rebound at the official market, closing at 1,480 Naira to $1. According to the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, the improvement follows a steady upward trend from early September, when the rate stood at 1,526 Naira to the dollar. The parallel market also reflected similar gains, with rates ranging between 1,490 and 1,495 to the dollar. The CBN governor, Mr. Olayemi Cardoso, disclosed that the country's foreign reserves rose to $43.05 billion in September, compared with $40.51 billion at the end of July, representing an import cover of over 8 months. He added that the second quarter of 2025 recorded a current account surplus of $5.28 billion, more than double the surplus in the first quarter. Analysts attribute the recovery to rising reserves, reduced speculative trading, and strengthened confidence following the CBN's foreign exchange reforms. Mr. Ifeanyi Oba of Commercial Partners expressed optimism that the gains will be sustained, backed by improved oil earnings and external buffers. Meanwhile, the president of the Association of Bureau de Change Operators of Nigeria, Mr. Aminu Gwadabe, said policy adjustments under Cardoso-led CBN have boosted dollar inflows into the country. He noted that diaspora remittances, estimated at $23 billion annually, remain a dependable source of foreign exchange for the country.
And now sports. Nigeria's Falconets have zoomed into the final round of the 2026 FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup qualifiers after comfortably overcoming Rwanda over 2 legs. In the second leg of the second round tie at the Lekan Salami Stadium in Ibadan today, the Falconets trashed Rwanda 4-0 to go through 5-0 on aggregate. The Falconets will now take on either Senegal or Algeria in the final qualifying round. The Senegalese hold a 2-0 first leg ahead of the reverse fixture build for today. Meanwhile, the final round of the Under-20 World Cup qualifiers will take place in February next year. 4 teams are expected to represent Africa at the World Cup build for Poland. Still in sports, Nigeria's Flying Eagles midfielder Barobo Ariye says he is confident the team is ready to make the nation proud at this year's FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Chile. The Nigerians, coached by Aliyu Zubairu, will open their Group F campaign on Monday against Norway before further clashes with Saudi Arabia and Colombia. Speaking, Mr. Arieri noted that preparations have been intense and the players were determined to improve on their AFCON outing. The midfielder, who played Norwegian second division club Mjøndalen, added that he was particularly excited about the clash against Norway, as he will be facing some of the club teammates on the international stage. Now here is our thought for today. Power is alone. It is never truly owned, but could be held for a while. whether it comes through politics, position, influence, or privilege. Power has an expiry date. And now for a rundown of the major stories in our bulletin this evening. President Bola Tinubu has called for the total elimination of nuclear weapons across the world. The president made the call while delivering Nigeria's statement at the United Nations headquarters in New York during the high-level meeting to commemorate the International Day for the Total Elimination of Nuclear Weapons. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has called on the Nigerian government to increase funding for health programs that address the rising cost of non-communicable diseases in the country. Speaking at a roundtable forum in Abuja, the foundation's country director, Uche Amonwo, stressed that non-communicable diseases such as cancer pose a growing threat to Nigerians. The Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, PENGASEN, has ordered an immediate shutdown of crude oil and gas supply to the Dangote refinery. The directive was contained in a letter signed today by the General Secretary of the Union, Comrade Lumumba Okubawa, and circulated to branch chairmen nationwide. And from the foreign scene were reported that Buckingham Palace has announced that King Charles III and Queen Camilla will pay a state visit to the Vatican next month, where they will meet Pope Leo XIV for the first time. The visit, scheduled for late October, came about 6 months after the royal couple met Pope Francis shortly before his death in April. Pope Francis was succeeded by Pope Leo, the first American Pope, elected in May at the age of 70. Remember, you can always follow our news online on Facebook as well as YouTube, both at Delta Broadcasting Service Asaba, or simply visit our website, www.dbsasaba.com. That's our news. Thank you so much for being part of it. My name is Francis Ofulwe. Enjoy your evening. Good night.